Highlight of the lives of 4 extraordinary former slaves who risked everything to end slavery in America. Huge thanks to the many extraordinary people who risked their own lives to free thousands of black slaves and contributed their efforts to bring an end to slavery in America. The list is extensive and includes former slaves, free African Americans, and the white allies that helped. This video highlights the stories of 4 such remarkable former slaves. Number 1 on this list of extraordinary, indomitable individuals. Ellen and William Kraft. Ellen and William Kraft were a married couple who were born into slavery in the United States in the early 19th century. They are best known for their daring escape from slavery and their subsequent work in helping others to achieve freedom through the Underground Railroad. In 1848, Ellen and William devised a plan to escape from slavery by posing as a white man and his slave. Ellen, who was light-skinned and could read and write, disguised herself as a wealthy white man, while William posed as her slave. They boarded a train in Georgia and traveled over 1,000 miles to Philadelphia, where they settled and began their new lives as free people. After their escape, William and Ellen became active in the abolitionist movement and worked with other Underground Railroad conductors to help enslaved people escape to freedom. They used their knowledge of the network and their connections with other abolitionists to assist in the safe passage of many slaves to freedom. In addition to their work on the Underground Railroad, William and Ellen also became prominent speakers and writers on the issue of slavery and abolition. They toured the United States and Europe, sharing their story and advocating for the abolition of slavery. William and Ellen's escape and subsequent work on the Underground Railroad made them important figures in the abolitionist movement and helped to raise awareness about the horrors of slavery. Their legacy continues to inspire activists today. Number 2 on this list of outstanding, resilient people. Josiah Henson.
Josiah Henson was an African-American abolitionist who played a significant role in the Underground Railroad, which was a network of secret routes and safe houses used by enslaved African Americans to escape to freedom in the North or Canada. Henson was born into slavery in Maryland in 1789 and endured many years of hardship and mistreatment before he finally escaped to Canada in 1830. After settling in Canada, he became an ordained minister and devoted his life to helping other escaped slaves find freedom. Henson's knowledge of the peculiar institution of slavery made him an invaluable asset to the Underground Railroad. He knew the routes and methods used by slave catchers to track down runaways, and he used this knowledge to help fugitives avoid detection and reach safety. Henson also worked closely with other abolitionists, including Harriet Beecher Stowe, who modeled the character of Uncle Tom in her famous novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, after Henson. In addition to his work with the Underground Railroad, Henson was also a vocal advocate for abolition and civil rights. He traveled extensively throughout the United States and Canada, delivering speeches and writing articles to promote the cause of freedom for all people. Henson's tireless efforts helped to raise awareness about the horrors of slavery, and his legacy continues to inspire generations of activists today.
Number 3 on the list of remarkable, brave individuals. Samuel Burns. Samuel Burns was an African-American abolitionist who played a key role in the Underground Railroad, a network of secret routes and safe houses used by enslaved African Americans to escape to freedom in the North or Canada. Burns was born into slavery in Virginia in 1812. He was able to escape to freedom in the North in the 1830s and settled in Rochester, New York. There, he became active in the abolitionist movement and used his knowledge of the South and the institution of slavery to help others escape. Burns worked closely with other Underground Railroad conductors, including Frederick Douglass, to help enslaved people escape to freedom. He was known for his bravery and resourcefulness, and he used a variety of methods to help slaves escape, including disguising them as sailors or hiding them in shipping crates. One of Burns' most daring acts was the rescue of a group of slaves who were being held in a jail in Missouri. Burns and a group of other abolitionists traveled to Missouri and were able to free the slaves by overpowering the guards and leading the slaves to safety. Burns' work on the Underground Railroad made him a target of slave catchers and others who opposed abolitionist activities. He was forced to flee to Canada in the 1850s, where he continued to work for the abolition of slavery. Samuel Burns' bravery and dedication to freedom inspired many others in the fight against slavery. His legacy serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by those involved in the Underground Railroad and the ongoing struggle for justice and equality. Brave and resourceful. Number 4 on the list of formidable, fearless advocates. Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, circa 1822 to 1913, was an African-American abolitionist and one of the most well-known figures associated with the Underground Railroad. Born into slavery in Maryland, Tubman escaped to freedom in 1849 and later returned to the South repeatedly to help other slaves escape. Tubman is said to have helped more than 300 slaves escape to freedom through the Underground Railroad. She used a network of safe houses, secret routes, and disguises to evade capture and guide slaves to freedom. Tubman was also involved in the abolitionist movement more broadly. She worked with other activists, including Frederick Douglass, to promote the abolition of slavery and the rights of African Americans. During the Civil War, Tubman worked as a nurse, cook, and spy for the Union Army. She was the first woman to lead an armed expedition during the war, and she helped free more than 700 slaves in a raid on Confederate positions in South Carolina. After the war, Tubman continued to be active in the fight for civil rights. She worked for women's suffrage and established a home for elderly African Americans. Tubman's legacy as a conductor on the Underground Railroad and her work as an abolitionist and civil rights activist have been recognized by historians and activists alike. In 2020, it was announced that Tubman's image would be featured on the U.S. $20 bill, making her the first African American woman to be featured on U.S. currency.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.